As Rolex keeps making moves in the world of horology, it seems like they want to expand to something you're unlikely to expect. Recently, Rolex announced that they have acquired Bucherer, one of the largest multi-brand authorized dealers in the world. This is no small feat because this is something that has never been done before in the industry. So you might think to yourself, why would a company like Rolex consider expanding its business by acquiring an authorized dealer chain? Is this really going to change anything? Or is the news being blown way out of proportion? Even if this is as big of a deal as many are saying it is, why should you even care? Well, if you're curious to know exactly what's going on and what this means, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to cover everything about this shocking news, from the history of Bucherer's relationship with Rolex to the future of the industry after this historical acquisition. So stick around and find out, is Rolex up to something? Before we talk about what's currently going on between the two, it's important to understand the rich history between Rolex and Bucherer. In 1924, Ernst Bucherer and Hans Wilsdorf established their long-standing partnership that has lasted over 90 years to date. As the retail brand grew, it expanded to over 100 locations around the world, including Switzerland, the United States, England, France, Denmark, and Germany. Lately, they've been undergoing a major expansion in North America as well. Bucherer currently has 53 stores that sell Rolex watches and 48 that sell Tudor, which is, of course, Rolex's sister brand. Though the direct heir to Bucherer, Jörg, had great visions for the company in the future, he unfortunately had no descendants of his own to take the torch and carry it forward. The retail brand has hit a peak in business, and before it all declined, Jörg knew he needed to cash in as quickly as possible. Fortunately, Rolex was eyeing the company to scale its own business, and the partnership turned into an opportunity for both Jörg and Rolex. In their press release, Rolex has given great respect to Jörg's legacy and even recognized him as the last person alive who worked with Hans Wilsdorf, the founder. Because of Jörg's amazing history with Rolex, they decided to keep him as the honorary president of Bucherer. This opportunity proved to be fruitful for both parties involved. Jörg got to have his cake and eat it too, and Rolex has taken the reins beyond their B2B sales and has direct access to B2C opportunities. For those still wondering what makes this acquisition so important to everyone in the watch world, here's a simple breakdown of the situation regarding dealerships over the years. Firstly, with Bucherer worth nearly $2 billion, a takeover of this scale in the watch industry is a big deal. On top of that, with watch brands selling only to authorized dealerships rather than directly to clients, the customer purchasing experience has always been in the hands of these ADs. What that means is that watch manufacturers lose all control over their client relationships once their products get into the hands of these stores. Rolex has been particularly unsatisfied with this situation lately, as there have been numerous reports of dealerships receiving letters from the company and having sales suspended for weeks or months. For some dealerships, Rolex has completely cut off ties because of a lack of proper customer service and a refusal to act accordingly to what is expected of Rolex. Now, the acquisition of Bucherer gives direct control of the customer experience in the hands of Rolex itself. They're now responsible for the customer experience directly and no longer have to rely on the middleman to sell their products the way they wish for them to be sold. This probably means salesmen who are going to be trained in-house by Rolex. Now, this can mean many things, including better treatment by salesmen, a more welcoming space for all watch lovers, and better communication while waiting for that watch you've been eagerly anticipating for the past few months. Of course, besides more control over the sales of their watches, owning a multi-brand AD like Bucherer also means more control over the sales of competitor products. Owning the large stores under the Bucherer umbrella puts more prime real estate in the hands of Rolex, meaning the stores are more than likely going to undergo renovations and re-strategizing when it comes to how other watches are sold compared to Rolex. Of course, Rolex is going to try its best to push its own products the most, and maybe have a space in each store dedicated only to Rolex products. They might also choose to reorganize the placement of competitor products and favor brands that seem less of a threat to their own sales. So, for all the Omega lovers out there, Bucherer stores might not have the Seamaster front and center like they used to. This is obviously going to change the relationship dynamics of the Bucherer stores with these brands, and companies will be forced to either comply with Rolex's terms and conditions or choose to take their business elsewhere. Either way, this places a lot of power in the hands of Rolex, and they even get to rake in some of the profits made by their competitors. This is a power move made by Rolex, and it means their reign as the king of watch brands is going to shift toward becoming the king makers. It's a huge burden to bear, and Rolex knows exactly what they're doing by placing themselves in this position. Audemars Piguet has recently chosen to expand its boutique stores across the globe, so some companies might follow suit and do the same if Rolex is going to be controlling such a large portion of the authorized dealer industry. Though Rolex isn't changing the Bucherer name, the brand is now going to be directly associated with the retailer by all watch enthusiasts across the globe. This places Bucherer at the front lines of competition among other watch dealerships. Right after Rolex conducted its press conference announcing its acquisition, stock prices plummeted for Watches of Switzerland, one of the other biggest dealerships worldwide. This may change the dynamics between Rolex and other dealerships as well, since most customers are going to choose to buy their Rolex watches directly from the retailers owned by the brand. This competition is going to cause some dealerships to either completely abandon selling Rolex products or push them front and center while changing their sales strategies so they have a slight chance of competing against Bucherer. It's an understatement to say that it will definitely be interesting to see how watch retailers around the world change the way they work to adapt to the acquisition. Maybe salesmen everywhere will be forced to have a smile on their face, unlike what clients of these stores are usually used to. Maybe marketing campaigns will become much more aggressive, or maybe Rolex is going to completely monopolize the market and become the sole name attached to luxury watches. Despite our predictions based on what watch experts and recent trends have shown, all of this is purely speculation for now. Any change that occurs may be exactly as predicted, or go the complete opposite direction. There's a chance that nothing may change, and this acquisition is just a way for Rolex to make some more profit. Either way, any change that occurs will progress over a long period, so it may be years before you're able to walk into a watch store and feel as if your patronage is worth anything. What will be the most interesting to see is how other watch companies will try to catch up with Rolex, and whether this means some companies will become more friendly with Rolex since they have all the power in the industry now. Perhaps the online market will gain more traction than ever. Retail is dying out anyway, and online orders are becoming much more affordable than going all the way to a retailer just to experience bad customer service while paying a hefty premium. Whatever will happen is probably going to be in Rolex's favor, since they've put themselves in a position where they can adapt and even control the outcomes of what will happen within the industry. The game of watchmaking and selling is like chess, and Rolex is in a good position to win right now.